Real inside the war room. The last video was edited. That was the real deal. That's what that first phone call was like. Joining us on the Cardinals Locker Room Draft Special, the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, Michael Bidwill. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to spend it with us.
It's great to be here, especially with all our fans.
Let's talk about Kyler Murray as if we haven't done enough of that already. When did you decide? When did it click in your head, you know what, we've got to move on this guy? And did it take any convincing? Because as we mentioned earlier, it is a little unorthodox to take a quarterback in 2 straight years.
Yeah, no, I think that there was definitely a process that we went through. And, you know, as we went through the process and the closer we got to the draft, I think the decision became clear, but we didn't know what was going to happen. As we got closer to the draft, was somebody who was going to offer us some crazy thing. But I tell you what, it was a great decision. You know, obviously with where we were before, I wanted to make sure that when we got a chance to really improve this organization, not just with Coach Kingsbury, but with the free agency and the draft, and to be able to have the best quarterback for him to get this thing turned around and get that offense rolling. I was excited to be a part of that decision.
What kind of crazy offer would it have taken to give up number 1?
Yeah, I don't want to get into hypotheticals. It would have had to be crazy because I tell you what, and I think our fans are going to get to know him very well over the coming weeks as he gets out here and starts participating in all the off-season training activities. But he is a terrific competitor. You've heard about the dual threat. We know what he can do on the field. We think it translates to the National Football League, and there's no doubt that with Cliff and his offense, we're going to really be doing some fun things. The things that are being done in the NFL now that we know work, but I'm excited about what we're going to see out at State Farm Stadium this fall.
Michael, I know it's only been 2 days, but are you seeing any metrics already, any returns from Kyler Murray? We're talking about maybe the most explosive player in college football. To me, was definitely the most explosive player last year. Are you seeing any metrics that are bearing that out?
Well, I think obviously there was a lot of interest coming into the draft and a lot of interest after the pick. And I think fans are seeing not just with Kyler, but this was really, as I said earlier, sort of step 3 of a process that started January 8th when we hired Cliff. Step 2 was free agency, filling all those holes in offensive line, in our secondary, tight end, et cetera, and then going out today or over the last 24 hours and really improving this team in a number of different areas and getting those type of receivers. So he's going to have a lot of guys to throw to, and I couldn't be more excited about what we've done in really the last 24 hours. It's been a dramatic improvement in the talent on this team.
It's been 2 straight years you've had to break in a new head coach and a new quarterback. I can't imagine that transition is easy. What have you done for both of those guys, or will do for both of those guys, to sort of ease the transition a bit? And what do you have to say to the fans here that might be worried about Kyler Murray sticking around for a long time? What can you say to ease their minds that this is the guy that they go out and buy the jersey for, because he's going to be here for a long time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he's a Heisman Trophy winner, obviously, and when you look at what he's done on the field and that dual threat component, we're going to be doing a lot of different things with this offense than we were doing in the years past, either with Carson Palmer or with Josh. So there's going to be a lot of excitement around this, and you're going to see him doing some of the things that he was doing at Oklahoma, plus more. We got him targets, and we're very confident about how this thing's going to start rolling.
Speaking of excitement right there, I've noticed that you talk to all these guys you draft, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You talk to all these guys on the phone. How much do you enjoy that?
I love it. You know, I'm sure my dad talked to you when we drafted you.
Yes.
And I watched him talking to everybody. I'm like, I'm going to welcome these guys on board. This is the biggest day of their football life, you know? And so it's just so great. I want to welcome them. I want to tell them, you know, we're going to hold off to turn in the card. You get with your parents, get in front of that TV, tune it in, get ready to celebrate, and we'll call you in about 20 minutes and we'll put you on with our media here. So it's just a lot of fun to do, and I like to have a personal relationship with everybody around the organization, but of course our players too.
You know, technology can fail us sometimes. Do you ever have a situation where you had the wrong number for a guy, or you called the cell phone and it wasn't on, or something like that? Has that ever happened to you?
So we had one draft pick whose name will go unmentioned.
Between friends, we'll keep it quiet.
But over the last, his mom answered the phone. You know, like you're letting your mom answer the phone. But you know, in the old days, before there was call waiting,
yeah.
You know, and before there were cell phones, you'd be ringing. And I remember being in the draft room as a young man. and we try to tie up phone lines. I hope there's no fines from the commissioner, but you'd be like, okay, let's get on the phone with somebody that we maybe don't want to get on, and everybody in the league is doing it. But, just so they think, well, we better go to the next guy.
And what's amazing about it, although I did talk to your dad, it was Larry Wilson who called me. And I didn't believe it was Larry Wilson, and I didn't believe him for like 4 seconds, 5 seconds. I kept telling him, knock it off, knock it off. And he finally said, yeah, this is me. Wow. We're going to draft you. That was a big moment, no doubt.
Pretty cool stuff. Well, all right, let's take some questions from the fans. Time for you guys to ask the Cards.
All right, we have some great questions lined up here. First, your name and where you're from.
Adam Miller from Tempe.
And your question.
Michael, we all remember the Super Bowl run. If you can reflect on that a little bit, and what should we expect this year? I already feel the excitement in the air, the electricity. It's palpable. So reflect a little bit on our Super Bowl run and what we should expect this year.
Well, that was the greatest game of all of our lives until that last 37 seconds.
Oh.
It was fabulous. I think we all thought we were going to win it, and that ball was probably not a touchdown, but out of bounds. That was great. It was 10 years ago. It's too long. That's why I made the change. That's why we brought in one of the brightest minds and offensive minds in football, plus a terrific Vance Joseph, a terrific defensive coordinator with head coaching experience to get us back to the 3-4, because that's what we want, championship football, and we wanted to make sure that we do everything we can do, including if we were going to start from scratch, starting from scratch with Kyler Murray, a quarterback, and that's what we did. So we're going to do everything we can do to start fast and to get it going at State Farm Stadium, get that Red Sea behind us, get the home field advantage, and really get hot and shock people. The NFC West is a tough division. We know it. We're building this team to win it. Now we've got more steps and a lot of work. We've got to stay healthy, knock on wood, but I'm excited about our future. Thank you for the question.
All right, Michael, we have a season ticket member here. First, your name, where you're from, and how long you've been a season ticket member.
I'm Kelly Young from Peoria, Arizona, and I'm one of the lucky original season ticket holders from 1988. And I have been to every home game since 1988. It was 312 games in a row.
Wow, Kelly, thank you so much. Nice streak. That is awesome.
It's a total treasure to have season tickets. I enjoy it so much. And I just want to ask how the community has changed so much since 1988 when we first started.
Well, I think it's been fantastic. And, we had great fans that really stuck with us, especially at Sun Devil Stadium. It's a little easier in State Farm Stadium with the air conditioning, and the noise, and we built that great home field advantage, sold out every game, and we're going to do it again this year. And I'm excited about all the changes with our fan base. But what we need to do is we need to do a better job on the field, and that's what I've been making sure that we make all the right decisions so that we can get this thing turned around quickly this year. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, I'm finally taller than somebody here. Your name and where you're from. What's your question also?
Jackson Simons from Phoenix, Arizona. And my question is, what year was your favorite draft class so far?
Jackson, great question. So it was the year that we drafted Larry Fitzgerald, Carlos Dansby, Darnell Dockett. That was a terrific year, but I tell you what, when I looked at the draft board at the end of this weekend's draft, I looked at this draft, and it's way too early to say this, but it looked very similar in terms of how we took guys up at the top of our 120 board. We took there were a lot of players that fell to us. Byron obviously fell to us. We talked about the defensive end from Boston College that fell to us. We really love the little speedy receiver from UMass. So we're excited about this class, and I hope this is the class that I'm most excited about. But that 2004 class was amazing.
Michael, how'd you feel about the 1985 class?
85 class was awesome.
Had to get that in
Thank
there,
you.
didn't you? Had to get that in there. All right, last question. What's your name and where you're from?
I'm Eloise Halpern from Scottsdale, and I was wondering, what team are you most looking forward to playing against this upcoming season?
Louise, thanks for the question. It's week one. Because it's week one against Detroit at home in front of the Red Sea. I can't wait for us to light it up, because I know he's not going to show everything in the preseason games. No head coaches do. but especially a new head coach with the kind of dynamic offense that we're building here. So I think I'm most excited about it's not so much the opponent, it's really about seeing us put everything out there and really getting this thing lit up. So I'm fired up. So thank you for the question. Appreciate all of those.
Michael Bidwill, one of the many men in suits who has not slept this week, taking time out of his night to spend it with us. Thank you so much for your time, sir.